In the summer of 1798, as the relentless Egyptian sun scorched the golden sands, sails appeared on the horizon. But these were not traders or pilgrims, they were warships. And at their helm stood a man whose ambition burned brighter than the desert itself. Napoleon Bonaparte. To the world, it looked like just another campaign. A strategic move to cripple Britain by seizing control of Egypt, the gateway to India. Muskets, cannons, and cavalry thundered toward Cairo. Cities fell. Fortresses crumbled. But this invasion was never just about empire or military supremacy. Because behind the facade of war, Napoleon had a secret. He did not just bring soldiers. He brought scientists, mathematicians, linguists, artists, over 160 of them. An army of intellectuals, traveling with crates of instruments, books, and curiosity. Their mission wasn't destruction. It was discovery. And what they sought lay buried beneath centuries of sand and legend. Napoleon was fascinated, borderline obsessed, with the ancient world. Not just its power, but its secrets. The kind locked in stone, written in forgotten tongues, and guarded by time itself. When he stood before the pyramids of Giza, he wasn't just looking at monuments. He believed he was looking at messages from another age, perhaps even from another intelligence. He told his troops, "Soldiers, from the heights of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you." But what he didn't say was what he truly felt. That he was being watched, not by history, but by something eternal. Why would a man obsessed with the future go to such lengths to uncover the past? What did Napoleon hope to find in the shadow of the pyramids? The answer may not lie in the books of war, but in the lost pages of ancient wisdom, and perhaps in secrets humanity was never meant to know. When Napoleon set sail for Egypt, he wasn't just preparing for war. He was preparing for something far greater. Hidden among the ranks of his army were not just grenadiers and gunners, but men of intellect. Over 160 of France's brightest minds, astronomers, botanists, chemists, artists, linguists, and architects, joined him. This eclectic entourage would later be known as the Commission de Sciences et des Arts. It was a military expedition unlike anything the world had ever seen. For the first time in modern history, the sword and the pen marched side by side. But why? Why bring a scholar army into the heart of battle? Because to Napoleon, Egypt wasn't just a battlefield. It was a treasure chest of ancient knowledge, a land where mathematics, architecture, and the mysteries of the cosmos were born. He believed that the secrets of the ancients, coded in stone, geometry, and forgotten language, could ignite a new renaissance in France, a second enlightenment, a golden age built not on conquest, but on understanding. His scientists weren't just cataloging ruins. They were on a mission to decode the universe. They meticulously mapped the Nile, recorded constellations in desert skies, and documented every inscription, artifact, and anomaly they could find. Their collective work culminated in one of the greatest scholarly achievements in history, Description de l'Egypte, a 23-volume epic that preserved the knowledge of a civilization lost to time. But behind the noble mission, a shadow loomed. Whispers passed through the ranks of Napoleon entering the Great Pyramid alone, demanding to be left inside the king's chamber for an entire night. No guards, no advisors, just the man, the stone, and the silence of 4,000 years. When he emerged, the fire in his eyes had dimmed, his face ashen, his voice quiet, and when asked what he experienced inside, he simply said, "You would not believe me." He never spoke of it again, and that silence has echoed through history ever since. Napoleon's obsession with the pyramids didn't emerge from military strategy or casual curiosity. It was something deeper, something spiritual. Beneath his sharp intellect and iron will, he was a man steeped in symbols, ritual, and hidden knowledge. Napoleon was no stranger to Freemasonry, an esoteric brotherhood that traced its spiritual roots back to ancient Egypt. Though it remains debated whether he was formally initiated, many of his closest allies, including generals, scientists, and advisors, were Masons. They shared a belief that Egypt was not merely a relic of the past, but the birthplace of sacred wisdom. To the Masons, the Great Pyramid was not just a tomb. It was an initiation chamber, a vessel of spiritual transformation, built not merely to honor the dead, but to awaken the living. Its dimensions, aligned with celestial patterns and mathematical constants, were thought to contain the architecture of the universe itself. Napoleon, a devout student of geometry and symbolism, was captivated. He believed that hidden within the pyramid's perfect angles and divine proportions were cosmic truths, laws that governed both heaven and earth. Truths that, if deciphered, could grant him a mastery far greater than political power, perhaps even a godlike command over fate. Back in France, he filled the nation with Egyptian and Masonic imagery. The Eye of Providence, radiant suns, and of course the pyramid itself. These were not mere decorations. They were messages, clues, a silent language speaking to those who understood the code. And then there was that night, alone in the king's chamber, surrounded by millions of tons of limestone and mystery, Napoleon faced something unexplainable. There were no flames to light his way, only the breathless dark, the silence of eternity. He emerged pale, changed, shaken to his core. When asked what had happened, he gave only a cryptic reply, "You would not believe me." And with those 6 words, one of history's greatest enigmas was born. Whatever Napoleon's true reasons were for marching into the sands of Egypt, whether conquest, curiosity, or something more arcane, his expedition ignited a firestorm across Europe. It wasn't just a military campaign. It was a cultural earthquake. Soon after his return, Europe descended into Egyptomania. Obelisks were raised in city squares. Sphinxes guarded entrances to museums and gardens. Egyptian motifs swept through fashion, furniture, and even opera. Suddenly, the imagery of the Nile and the pharaohs flooded salons, galleries, and royal courts. But for Napoleon, this wasn't just about exotic aesthetics. It was strategy. Egypt became a weapon not of war, but of myth-making. He cast himself not merely as a conqueror, but as a pharaoh of the modern world. A man chosen not by bloodline, but by destiny. He commissioned medals etched with his profile beside the pyramids, fusing his image with the ancient and eternal. Propagandists painted him as standing among the gods, his gaze fixed on the stars, his feet planted firmly in the sacred sand of Giza. The message was clear. Napoleon was timeless. Not a mere general of France, but a myth reborn, a bridge between past empires and future glory, a living link between the ancient wisdom of Egypt and the enlightened promise of modernity. And the public believed it. His legend grew, wrapped in mystery and symbolism, draped in the golden hues of the desert. Egypt wasn't just a chapter in his military career. It became part of his identity, part of the mythos that would outlive him. What began as a campaign of war became a pilgrimage of transformation. The man who left France as a soldier returned as something more. A symbol, an icon, almost a god. From the shifting sands of Egypt, Napoleon carved not just history but legacy. Centuries later, the whispers haven't stopped. Historians may catalog Napoleon's Egyptian campaign as a geopolitical maneuver, but for conspiracy theorists, occult scholars, and seekers of the arcane, it was something else entirely. A quest, a revelation, a secret never spoken aloud. At the center of it all stands that night in the king's chamber. A night cloaked in darkness, sealed in stone, and soaked in mystery. What did Napoleon see? What did he feel? Some believe he encountered more than silence, more than just ancient limestone and empty space. They say he discovered something hidden, a relic, a message, cosmic truth. The Great Pyramid, after all, is no ordinary monument. Its dimensions reflect mathematical and astronomical constants, pi, the golden ratio, even the speed of light when measured in meters. It's aligned to true north with uncanny accuracy. And yet, built over 4,500 years ago, how? Why? For what purpose? Some believe the pyramid wasn't a tomb at all, but a machine for transformation, portal of sorts, a temple of sacred geometry designed not for death, but for awakening. Did Napoleon stumble upon this truth? He was a man who loved the spotlight, who reveled in recounting every triumph. But when it came to that single night, he spoke not a word, except one haunting phrase. You would not believe me. Not a denial, not a joke, just a wall of silence around a moment that clearly shook him. Was it fear? Was it awe? Or was it the burden of forbidden knowledge, the kind too dangerous to reveal? Perhaps he didn't find an artifact, but a mirror, a reflection of something so vast, so ancient, so incomprehensibly intelligent, that it shattered even his ambition. Or maybe, in the stillness of the king's chamber, Napoleon finally understood. Even the greatest emperor is but a grain of sand in the face of eternity. Napoleon is long gone. His empire collapsed, his armies scattered to the wind, and his name, once feared across continents, is now etched into history books. But the pyramids remain, unmoved, unchanged, eternal. They have withstood earthquakes, invasions, erosion, and time itself. They watched pharaohs rise, Rome fall, and modern nations be born. They were already ancient when Caesar arrived, already sacred when Christ walked the earth. And still today they stand, as if daring us to understand them. And we try, from archaeologists to physicists, mystics to tourists. Our obsession has never faded. We map every chamber, scan every crevice, measure every angle. We build theories, simulations, and stories. And yet, the deeper we look, the stranger it all becomes. So why did Napoleon risk so much to reach them? Why, at the height of his power, did he not just bring swords and soldiers, but scholars, mathematicians, and dreamers? Perhaps he believed, as many still do, that the pyramids aren't just monuments. They are messages. Messages carved in stone, encoded in mathematics, left behind by a civilization that may have understood the universe in ways we still can't comprehend. And perhaps Napoleon, in all his ambition, didn't just want to rule history. He wanted to become part of it, to align himself with something timeless, to leave his mark beside theirs, to be remembered not merely as a man of war, but as a seeker of truth. And maybe that's why we're still drawn to them, because when you stand in the shadow of the pyramids, it isn't just about stones stacked high. It's about something that stirs deep within. A pull, presence, an echo of eternity that reminds us we are not just here to conquer. We are here to understand. Napoleon believed the pyramids held secrets that could shape the future. Maybe he was right. If you felt the pull of mystery and history in this story, help us uncover more. Like this video, share it with fellow seekers, and subscribe to Empire Mindset, where the past reveals the future. Unlock the hidden, question the known, and journey deeper into the world's greatest enigmas.